Please, let's get them on.
Would you like to talk to them?
Maybe.
All right.
Probably.
Here they are. Caller from the 269. You're on Planet Green Trees.
Is that Lansing?
No. I wonder if it's muted. Oh, it's muted. Oh, by the mixer.
Remarkable, and thank all you guys. I'd like to ask you guys, did anybody see Dr. Gupta's Weeds number 4 on CNN? It was about 2 weeks ago, and it was the best one that he has produced so far. And he had shown before and after pictures of the brain, and he was talking about Alzheimer's, and he said that cannabis had been proven to clean the brain of, I think he was talking about proteins. I don't know. I wanted to see the program again. It was supposed to run, I believe it was last Friday night, but they got preempted. I've seen no stories written about this Dr. Gupta's show. I've gone and watched the hemp sites, and nobody is saying that he had given such good praise for hemp and showed clips of hemp for victory on that show. And is it common knowledge? Is it common knowledge that that cannabis can clean the protein out of the brain? And does that affect the Alzheimer's and the autism children, or is autism a different related mechanism than those proteins, the prions, or whatever?
The Alzheimer's.
And I'd just like to say that Jeff.
Tell our listeners more specifically what the show was talking about, because I know you're asking questions, and I don't know that everybody saw, but enlighten us a little bit more about the specific Dr. Sanjay Gupta's comments during that.
There was just last weekend, they had the 12th annual Cannabis Therapeutics Conference in New Jersey, and the Patients Out of Time holds that, I believe, and 4 of the professors or scientists or PhD people that Dr. Gupta referred to were panelists on that, and that was at Sicily, Dr. Sicily, and a few others, Baker. I'm not sure who all these people were, but that they had spoken, and he had been very praiseworthy as to the medical effects. But like I said, I would like to see it over, and I was wondering if anybody there had seen it.
I think it should be on CNN's website, maybe. If you Google Weed 4, you might find it on YouTube.
And I would like to say one other thing about, you guys are talking about policing and so forth, and that you've got a fundraiser coming up, and I've been reading, I read off and on the Planet, or the Burning Rainbow Farm by Dean Kuipers, Kuipers, and he was making reference, I think, in May the 23rd and 26th, it was Hemp Aid out there at the farm, and that's coming up, that's 21 years, it'll be coming up this next week. And I thought how fitting having this beautiful person running for our Attorney General, and then flashing back to those old days back then, 21 years ago, and what the difference in Attorney Generals. It's just unbelievable. But 21 years, you guys can all be very, very grateful and happy with yourselves that you really hung in there and look at the difference that we're making in people's minds. And I think, Jeff, you ought to get into being one of the copyright or a patent person, because I think a lot of people in the hemp industry are going to want to patent things. And I think that the school system and the education system better get with the program and start in Michigan and start getting the kids interested in growing hemp and what it can do for the people. It's ridiculous that we're far apart. We keep getting separated. So all the communities need to be together.
That's a good point. Are you talking about Jeff Frazier?
That's what I'd like to say to you guys. And thank you much for everything that you guys are doing. Really appreciate it, man. Bye.
Bye, thank you. That was very nice of him.
It was very nice. It was much nicer than, say, Tristan Cole.
Yes.
So that's good.
Let's talk about Kristen Cole, because he's actually going after the medical cannabis community, as we understand it, right?
He is.
Explain that in a little more detail.
Him and two other representatives from the House. I don't recall either of their names offhand. Marino's one, and who's the other one? Chad. Who's the third rep? The trifecta of terror.
Some asshole. Can't remember the name.
Well, anyway, they're going to make it a 5-year felony to do any, what they're calling chemical extraction without a license. So it's not good. What do you think about that, T-Pain?
I hope it won't pass. That's all I can think, you know. It's like, if there's any justice in the world, they're not going to make it a 5-year felony for somebody to make his or her own medicine or his or her own child's medicine, right?
I'm not so sure about that. But I think we'll find out. We will find out. And in the same vein as we are going to find out whether or not CBD is really illegal, and whether Laura's advisory, which I know a lot of us are interpreting to classify hemp as marijuana for the purposes of determining CBD's legality in Michigan. But I think there's a lot of unanswered questions surrounding that statement. I know Laura has issued some contradictory statements to certain people within the community. And I think they either need to release a new advisory clarifying their position, or I think there might be a lawsuit. I don't think they can do that.
I think it only matters if Bill Schuette says something. I mean, Laura, while being the administrator of the Controlled Substances Act, I mean, they're not able to place CBD on a controlled substance unless the pharmacy board.
They're saying CBD is marijuana.
Yeah, it's included in any part of the marijuana plan.
Right. And they're saying it's the advisory seems to indicate that it's CBD from any source is really CBD from marijuana.
Isn't it?
Well, kind of.
Basically.
But
except for hemp. Hemp is supposedly different.
Yeah, but the advisory wasn't very clear on that.
They're not differentiating.
I know. But the point is that they are criminalizing behaviors that they have no right to criminalize. And it's hurting real people. And
yeah.
And which do you think is the dumber idea? The DEA's idea that marijuana is just the flowering tops of the plant, and that if you get CBD from the stalks, it's okay.
Well, they've conflated the definition of industrial hemp with the definition of hemp. Basically, is what they've done. See, industrial hemp is like marijuana is a defined term of art. It has particular meaning, and it's defined in the Controlled Substances Act as the plant, cannabis plant, or any part of it that has less than the 0.3% THC. It's defined as something different, and it's accepted from the definition of marijuana under the Controlled Substances Act. What they're saying is that it doesn't matter where the CBD comes from, it's still marijuana. That's the way I read it.
Right.
Which I think you're right. I don't think they have the authority to do it.
Is it the extraction and concentration that makes it into medical marijuana?
No, it's just the presence of CBD.
Yeah.
Period. The extraction doesn't make it anything.
They're saying it could be illegal marijuana or medical marijuana, but it's marijuana.
It's definitely marijuana. That's what they know.
If it's going to be Right. Basically, if it's going to be used or distributed, it's going to have to be under the terms of the MMA. And
One or the other.
licensing it.
Or it's not legal, I believe.
Yeah.
But I'm not an attorney, so that's not legal advice.
When is industrial hemp bills in the U.S. Senate federally going to move forward?
I have no idea.
Nobody knows.
I have no idea.
But both majority leaders and the majority leader and the minority leader both seem to approve of it, right?
The rules committees are the powerful ones there. I'm moving bills. And there's this guy, Pete Sessions, who's in charge of, not to be confused with Brother Jeff, is in charge of the House Rules Committee, and he has not allowed a single bill to come out of his committee on marijuana reform at all. He needs to go. He's up for
That reminds me that there was a meeting today by some Republicans in Lansing. What was it? Citizens for Traditional Values.
Ooh.
Independent Political Action Committee.
Oh.
Held a little.
What kind of traditional
Sounds
values?
nice. What is that?
Judeo-Christian.
Oh.
Traditional values.
Oh. Huh.
That's a minefield.
Huh.
They do say that they're for personal freedoms, though.
Oh. Like,
Limited
personal freedoms, like-
I'm sure.
as long as it doesn't conflict with their religious views.
I think something like
Okay.
hypocritical like that. Yeah.
Yes.
But it did have Tom Leonard
Ooh.
in there.
Our next
and
supposed attorney general.
Tanya Shitmaker
Oh, both of them.
was
Oh,
there.
wow.
And,
Ooh.
Gary Glenn.
Oh, we all know.
These
What was that
things?
piece of shit legislation that Gary Glenn sponsored? Sharmy brought it to my attention.
And another couple senators and representatives even.
Well,
And Greensley, of course.
oh,
he was there.
jeez. He is a real
You know.
piece of work.
He gets paid.
You know, he
Cashes that check.
he blocked Deb.
Facebook drama.
He blocked Deb on Facebook because Deb kept tagging him in shit.
She reposted the poll that he took down
They-
asking if people should legalize marijuana.
That was the best.
He didn't like that at all.
He can't even get his own social network together that will vote against marijuana legalization by anything less than 80%.
No, it
Now,
was
you don't
bad.
think they'd be scared about writing a poll? Like, could you see who voted and, where they worked and say, oh, that guy doesn't like marijuana. Maybe I shouldn't buy his muffins anymore.
Well, if people want to discriminate, I find that they're probably going to discriminate. And you're probably not going to solve that issue. But what I do know is that it is really funny to me that so many activists make up the likes for their page. And there's no way that they'll ever get good data out of their social media platforms because we will be there to make sure that they don't. So they can continue to try, and they can continue to fight, and they can continue to try to be on the wrong side of history. But ultimately, what you see is that the prohibitionists that are coming to the table. So let's take the Let It Rip episode that Deb was on a couple of weeks ago. And Scott Greenlee was on that episode, along with Scott Macy from Brighton Hospital. And they were the opposition. And both of those gentlemen have jobs, careers, that are firmly rooted in prohibition. Mr. Massey is a drug recovery counselor, I believe, at Brighton Hospital. And not to say that that's not good work, because I think that there's a necessity for that, but he has articulated on more than one occasion about how many quote-unquote marijuana addicts are admitted into these facilities and seek treatment. So obviously there's a revenue stream. And then Scott Greenlee is is making money, and we see he's making money because we've seen the campaign finance reports.